Hello everyone, this is part 14, I think, of the project. Welcome back, glad to see you. Okay, this is where we stopped last time, and I thought about it. I'm gonna rebuild the wall, as I said, just because it will be easier for us to work with something not like one piece. So what I'm gonna just do is delete this part, okay, that doesn't really matter, and restart from what I used last time, meaning a plane. Might reduce this so that I have more space, make it 7 by 7 again, and what I'm gonna do is call it ground or an apple, like that, and I'm gonna duplicate it and call it walls. Okay, so this time I can have a look at this so that I can do what I did last time, meaning an inset for the walls. Okay, like that. And now what I'm gonna do is delete the face in the middle and separate the walls into two parts. And I want one part which will be the walls where there is no windows, okay, and the other one. So I'm gonna use, you can either go in the menu, and I think you have in the mesh menu separate and by selection, like that. Okay, so this is not part of the object anymore. Now I have those two walls, I'm gonna extrude them up as I did before. Okay, maybe I'm gonna have a look and make them stop like this, where the chandelier is. Okay, so we've got that one, that's part of wall. Okay, and what is called wall 1, I'm gonna call it wall openings, just like that. I'm gonna do exactly the same, meaning I'm gonna extrude them as high as the other, or it doesn't really matter. In fact, you know what, that doesn't really matter because we will have a ceiling this time. So let's drag this one up as well. Okay, and we've got our ground. So this ground here I'm gonna extrude down so that we will have a thickness for our floor, and I'm gonna duplicate it at the top and this time call it ceiling. Okay, and this one I can adjust so that it will fit where the chandelier is. So now we got all of that. I'm gonna redo the Boolean operation on the walls where you've got the openings. Okay, so now I'm gonna move all this into the structure collection, and what I can do is hide the walls, or the walls where we've got the opening, and maybe the ceiling, so that I can see more. I can hide this as well, and I can see more the interior, like that. Can feel good. Okay, something I'm gonna do, and I'm thinking about it, is apply the scales just in case, so they all have a scale at 111. Okay, so next step, what I wanted to do was to add details to the walls. The way I see it is that they build the walls using bricks or stones, and after that they use some kind of plaster to do the rest. So what I'm gonna do now is, starting from a cube, give it some kind of shape, looking like, oh sorry, I forgot last time as well to add the shortcuts. It might be better for you. Okay, and now I'm gonna give it some kind of stone shape. Okay, and I might build a few of them, a few different, so that then I can lay them on the bottom of the walls. Okay, look, have a look at that. That's great. We've got stones on the inside of the workshop, but I found it to look kind of nice. Let's add stones to the other walls. Such projects always takes time, we have to accept that, and to make room to this. Okay, it's as if I built the workshop in my hands. So why not? Why not? Why not? Let's stop right here. We've got our stonework. Perfect. And of course we've got the chimney. Over here. Remember? It's been a long time, but it's still here. The shear tool. Just in case, I held my mouse button on the tool and then I wrote on my numpad the values I wanted to have. So the chimney I haven't verified, but I think we can have the bottom of it made out of stone. That's what I have in mind, at least. Having some kind of wood on the top here, and then the rest will be some kind of the same materials as the walls. So let's do that. in chimneys, this guy won't lay on the wood. I'm gonna build some kind of metallic shelf for the cauldron. So let's do that. I'm gonna do something really simple and show you a few tricks while I'm doing it. I have like my normal cube, and I'm gonna give it the size, shape of what I want to build. Okay, it's supposed to be something like that in my mind. Okay, now I'm gonna divide it like this. Okay, and maybe that's okay. And then I'm gonna add a modifier we haven't seen so far, but let's be crazy. This one is called wireframe, and that has taken the wireframe, meaning that if we're in wireframe mode and I undisplay it, we've got our edges, and this modifier takes the edges and make them solid. I can add a thickness to it. Okay, and so now I have some kind of I can say this is like a metal grid. Okay, on top of which my cauldron will sit. Okay, and of course this is at the base of it. This is a cube. Okay, with subdivisions, so I could if I wanted to, I could add subdivisions like this, and see, I have more definition to it. Okay, so I've got let's can rename the cubes using an option in Blender. This option, I think it's a bit hidden somewhere, so what I'm gonna do is use the F3 key on my keyboard to make a search box pop. Okay, and then I'm gonna type in rename and choose batch rename. This allows me to rename all my objects. I'm gonna use the set name option with a suffix, meaning I will add a number at the end when we've got the same name, and I'm gonna call those chimney stones like that and press OK. And now they have added the first name to it, but that's not what I'm looking for. Let's set name new name. Suffix means that this will be added to the already existing name, but I want a new name. And this time it's okay. Okay, I could use an array modifier and these kind of things, of course. You know how this works now, but I'm just gonna do it by hand because, you know, this is a handcrafted project and workshop. what I wanted to say is we need a door handle. And I'm not sure I told you, but what you can do when you do things like that is holding Control on your keyboard and then right clicking where you want the extrude to go. Like that. Okay, and now let's do the window. And the window, I'm sure you've guessed it, looks like a small door. This is good to have attention to details, but sometimes, you know, it can take a lot of time and you need to decide when you stop. So that's okay. Okay. Let's see where we are at the moment. We've got all that. It's beautiful. Oh, look at the door here. That doesn't fit with the stones. Oh. Oh. Let's modify a few things. Okay. I'd like to add something on the floor that is interesting, although we won't see it that much in the final animation, but let's do it anyway. And after that, I think I've got a few things like books and plants to model. In this case, let's not start with a plane, but with a cylinder. Using this last edit menu, I can choose to have like a 6-sided cylinder, and I've got my tile already. I'm gonna apply the bevel and then the array modifier. Okay, I have all those books here, and what I'm gonna do is switch to edit mode, select them all, and then use mesh and separate, and I'm gonna choose by loose parts, meaning all those are gonna be, like you can see here, individual books, individual objects. And now that they're all selected, what I can do is what I did for renaming the objects, pressing F3 on my keyboard and choosing randomize transformation. This will give you an option here to randomize, like the location of the objects. Let's say this on the Y and X axis. Their rotation maybe on the Y axis a little bit, like this. Okay. Well, before I did that, I should have changed the origin of the object to the center of the books. So I'm not gonna do it now, but it would have helped. Okay. And then of course the scale, so I want some books to be smaller and other taller. Okay, so now that I have that, I can maybe select the shelf and just the books, and in the view menu you have local view, toggle local view. Okay, this allows you to only see the objects that are selected. To see if you are in local view or not, you can see that it is written over here, local. Okay, and that's a bit better because now I can see at the same time the books and the shelf only. I'm not gonna show you the process with the references because, as you might have guessed, usually what I do is I build an object in 3D like this, and then from this I'm creating the references so that you have something to work from. This time I'm gonna just build the things initially without the references, but then I'm gonna use the model to create references for you to work with afterwards. now we can use a particle system to have these leaves going all over the branches. And I'm gonna make it smaller. Up, and this one as well. Okay. This one as well. And this one as well. Now these are curves, so you can't use particle system and then you have to have a mesh. So let's save and convert that to mesh, and now in this panel we have these particle properties. We can add a particle system and this will spawn particles on the object. These are spawn particles, but what we want is not something that just emits particles always, but something that looks like hairs, like this. Okay, but now we want viewport display or render to be an object, and we're gonna select as an instance object our leaves, and now we got leaves all over the place. What we can do from here is have a scale randomness and have their scale a bit bigger. Okay, maybe we need less of them, of course, something like this. And what I'm gonna do now is make sure they are not all oriented the same way. For this you need to check the advanced options and go to rotation and add rotation. Now what I'm gonna do is randomize the rotation here. Perfect. And what we could do is having a few leaves, okay, and change our particle system to use not objects as renderer, but a collection. Sometimes going a bit over the place. What we can do to see if that works is change the seed number. Okay. So there was one last thing I wanted to do, and this was to add a bit of details on these columns here. So I'm just gonna isolate or make them local. Okay. That's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the lesson today. I know there is a lot of parts that are sped up, but the original time of all of this was more than 3 hours, so I had to do that so that the video is not too long. Don't hesitate to ask me questions in the comments if there is something that isn't clear, of course. And I see you in the next part. Take care, everyone. Bye.